common to dream big in poker, to wonder how your skill set might match up against some of the toughest players in the world in the highest stakes game that runs regularly in Las Vegas, at Bellagio, the poker center of the universe. I can't tell you how many times I've walked in for a 5-10 session, glanced at the high stakes area that's secluded from the rest of the poker room, and thought, that's where I wish I was battling. Well, today, there's no more dreaming, wondering, or wishing. The two 10-20 games that have a $20 big blind ante added on that drastically affects the stakes. Today is the day that I push myself to the limit and test my skills in the biggest game that I've ever played. I can feel the adrenaline pumping through my body as I buy in for a rack and a stack. That used to mean $1,000 worth of chips. Today, instead of a rack of $5 chips, it's a rack of 20s. And instead of a stack of $25 chips, it's a stack of hundreds. We're in for $4,000. It's the most that I've ever bought in for. Once I'm done at the cashier, I don't go my normal route to take a seat. I pause for a second to look at these two steps. They may not seem like much, but they're what separate those who are the best in the world from those who are just very good. It separates those who make up to 6 figures playing poker from those who can make up to 7 figures or more. I'm trying not to let my fear be visible as I get settled, but it's tough because this must move is 6-handed. It's not my specialty. There's nowhere to run or hide. You may remember in the previous session that I didn't run well, and I got torched playing short in 5-10 just a couple days prior to this. My opponents consist of 4 other pros and 1 recreational player. That's 1 more rec than is usually in the game, plus I'm in it, so it's quite a bit softer than normal. Ideally, I'd like to have several easy folds right away so I can get a little more comfortable and see how the table plays. Fate has something different in store for me. After posting the big blind and the ante, I'm dealt my very first hand, and it's ace-queen offsuit. To make things more interesting, the player on my left is straddled to 40. Before anyone has a chance to make a decision, there's $90 in the pot. That's 6 times more than a 5-10 game, only 2 stairs away from us starts out with. My anxiety increases as the first player to act raises to 110. It's on me. I have a lot going on in my head right now. I know what I'm supposed to do, but it's the exact opposite way I was hoping to begin the session. I don't want to play a big pot out of position and get immediately stacked. I just have to pretend that this is a normal game and play my best. I reach for my stack, assemble some black and orange chips, then 3-bet to 380. Internally, I'm pleading with the poker gods to please just let me take this down pre-flop. I promise to never say jiggities again if you don't want me to. I'm shown no mercy. The hijack calls the 380. He's a very good player. Right off the bat, we're thrown into the wolves. The first hand I play has $830 in the middle pre-flop, and we're playing out of position. My heart is pounding through my chest. I'm completely regretting my decision to play this highest stakes. Then the dealer puts out ace-queen-9 rainbow. We flop top 2 pair in the most stressful start to any session that I've ever had. I can breathe again. Perhaps the poker gods don't have it out for me after all. I'm contemplating the best way to extract the maximum value. I down bet to 240. This is a flop that, as you can see, is going to crush my 3-bet range. My opponent knows that. I don't want to give him a free card, but I don't want to scare him off when he could be drawing close to dead. He's getting great odds. Apparently, they're not good enough. The hijack immediately folds. It would have been amazing to get more value there, but I can't even explain how important it was for my mindset to sit down and have a pot push our direction right away. A few minutes later, we're dealt 9-8 suited on the button. This one's 5-handed. The only rec player here opens the 80 from under the gun. He's the guy that I'm most focused on getting involved in hands with. I call a pretty standard sized open for this game. It's still more than the entire amount that I'd buy in for when I was playing 3-6 limit at casinos as an 18-year-old in college. The big blind also calls. We're going 3 ways to the flop. It's 10-7-6 rainbow. We flop the absolute nuts. I can't even remember the last time I flopped a straight. It seems like everything is aligned for us today. The big blind checks. I almost go into shock as the pre-flop raiser bets 300. It's difficult for me to even fathom that this is real life right now. This guy is betting more than the pot, and I have the best hand possible. Raising seems a bit ridiculous. Flatting will look incredibly strong as well. Typically, I don't slow play straights. Here it seems like by far the best option to set the trap. I call, the big blind folds, we're heads up. The turn is the 5 of clubs. It's safe, we still have the nuts, and pick up a flush draw that I've never wanted to hit less in my life. After overbetting previously, under the gun bets 400. It's less than half the size of the pot. I'm not going to let him off the hook that easily. No more slow playing. It's time to make a move. I raise to 1100. I can't tell you how good this feeling is at the moment. I'm still kind of in disbelief that I put 1100 out there and still have piles of chips behind. I'm hoping that the player will jam for 1700 on top. I've got him covered. He's very deep in the tank. Finally, he makes the call. There's over 3000 in the middle. The opponent has just over half a pot size bet left in his stack. This would be the perfect time for the deuce of hearts to come. Instead, the river is another 7, pairs the board. We no longer have the nuts. Under the gun checks. If he had 2 pair or better on the turn, he probably wouldn't have bet less than half the pot. Feels like he has an overpair, something like ace 10. I'm certainly not checking back. There's only one move to make.
Mullen. Owen. Kings.
I'm shocked that he lays down pocket kings face up after getting almost 3-1 on a call. It's actually super impressive, and I give him some credit for letting it go, but he's not having it.
Nice fold.
Interesting that he doesn't believe that I had a strong hand, yet somehow he made the right play. A massive pot for a normal day in my life is pushed towards us. This is going infinitely better than I imagined. We have almost 6,000 in front of us. We're up about 2,000 in 20 minutes. It's tough to do better than that. I'm so excited and caught up in trying to write notes and film that I accidentally straddled for 40 under the gun. I thought that I was the big blind and had to post the additional $20 ante. The good news is that I pick up pocket threes. The small blind, who doesn't believe that I had shit, limps in for 30 more. I feel like that I should be the rightful owner of his chips that he somehow managed to hold on to. I raised to 140 in order to get one step closer to absorbing his stack into mine. He calls for 100 more. We're heads up. The flop comes 8-5 deuce with 2 hearts. The opponent checks. There's a decent chance that I have the best hand. I take a stab at it for 160. The small blind folds. Another pot is ours. We don't lose a single pot that we voluntarily put money into. At this time, there's a seat open in the main game that looks super tough. One by one, players from my table get called over, and several opt to join a 5-10 game rather than play at the other 10-20 table.
Is game broken now?
After 30 minutes of playing, it's just me sitting by myself because the main game got filled by only one of our players and everyone else left. I'm up over 2,000 and I'm okay with the result. Eventually, another seat becomes available in the main game. I figure I'm winning and I came here to play 10-20. I may as well continue taking my shot.
Sure. Yeah.
The table that I'm headed to looks ridiculously challenging. Most of the players are sitting with 40 to 100,000 in front of them. As soon as I set my chips down, I look around. Everyone else is licking their chops when they see me. These really are some of the best players in the world. There's no need to press my luck against 7 people that I know are better than me. I do what everyone else from the previous table did, except the guy whose stack you see on my left, and I pass on one of the toughest games that's currently running on the planet. Wow, that was nuts. I played for a half hour. I paid time one time, and I won 2,120. Very first hand, I just 3-bet and flopped top 2 pair, and then every hand I played, I won actually. So second hand I played is 9-8 of clubs, and I flopped a straight. The guy makes pretty sick laydown actually. So that kind of, I don't know how he did that, but and then I played pocket threes, and that was it. I didn't see any other flops, I don't think. So that was nuts. Super excited, but I'm gonna...
Hey, Brad.
What's up, dude?
Hey, brother. I hope I get on the vlog. I really do.
What's your name?
My name is Peter. I've been watching you for the last couple of years.
All right.
I actually came here just to see you. I'm from Seattle.
Very cool, man.
Yeah.
Well,
I wanted some of those Bradley dollars.
Nice to meet you. What are you playing?
I'm playing 5-10.
All right, dude. I'm gonna hop into 5-10 now, actually.
Okay.
So,
I just made a stupid call and I won a $3,000 pot. I had 3-4 spades.
That's how you do it.
The guy kept bullying me around, so I made the call for $800, and I flopped it. So.
Nice job, man. I'll see you in there.
I hope I get on the vlog with you, bro.
All right. So, like I just said, we're now gonna jump into 5-10 and see how that goes. I'm in for 1,500, looking to add on to what's already a great day for me. I pick up 8-7 suited in the big blind. 4 players limp in. I check. 5 of us are in the mix. The flop is 10-6 deuce rainbow. I've got a gutter, and that's it. All of us check. The turn is the 8 of spades. We pick up a pair. If anyone had a 10 or better on the flop, they likely would have bet, so I'm guessing my second pair is best unless someone turned 2 pair or a better 8. I don't want any of my opponents to see a free card. I bet 50. I can potentially get even stronger hands to fold. Since I'm the big blind, I can have all the straight and 2 pair combinations. I'll also have all the set combinations in my range, except for possibly pocket 10s. Under the gun +1 in the hijack fold, the cutoff calls. It's very likely that he has a draw of some sort, perhaps something like Jack-9 or spades. The button folds, it's heads up. The river is the deuce of clubs. All the draws miss. If my opponent has what I think he has, he won't be able to call a bet of mine. Therefore, there's no reason to make one. I check to allow my opponent the opportunity to bluff at it. The player bets 150. It's a pot-sized bet. It doesn't make any sense to me that he all of a sudden has a strong hand. He would have raised pre-flop with pocket 10s. He would have bet flop with a set of deuces, 6s, or any hand containing a 10. He would have raised turn with 2 pair or better, and there's no way that he should be holding a deuce in his hand after calling on the turn. He also wouldn't be betting pot with an 8 that's better than mine. That rules out every hand that's beating us. I snap call. It turns out our read on the situation is correct. The player turns over 7-6 of diamonds. He had 3rd pair and a gutter on the turn, then turned it into a bluff on the river. There's a little bit of paperwork that has to be done, but we are now the new owners of the cutoff soul. He should have never tried to bluff a beluga. We win the pot, then a viewer comes over.
Can you chop this for me, please?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man. How's it going?
Good.
What's your name?
Sloan.
Sloan picked a great time to say hello. I'm usually pretty happy to meet people who watch the channel, especially when I'm dragging in a pot. A while later, we have ace-jack of hearts under the gun. Always nice to look down at suited Broadway cards. I raised to 30. Small blind 3-bets to 130. This is the same player that we beat in the hand we just went over. He shouldn't be 3-betting me from this position unless he has something good. I call for 100 more. We're heads up in position. The flop comes Jack 5-4 with 2 clubs. We flop top pair, top kicker. The opponent checks. When you're out of position in these situations, you're actually supposed to check a lot more than people tend to. He can still potentially have strong hands like overpairs, but there's a good chance that he has something like ace-king. I check back for pot control and deception. There aren't many cards that I need to be worried about coming out, except for cards like a queen or 5. We're downgraded to 2nd pair, and the king smashes my opponent's range. The small blind bets 160. The fact that this guy just saw me call him down light, 3-bet my early position raise, checked flop, and bet turn on a board that could still be good for me, since I can have strong hands like king-jack, and maybe even jacks, makes me believe that he has me beat. Folding after I check back top pair on the flop is certainly exploitable. In this situation, I get the sense that it's the right thing to do. I go with that read and fold. It's not something that I do often at all, particularly in position. I could definitely be up against something like ace-queen. I just didn't like the spot and chose to avoid it. Next we pick up 10-9 offsuit in the big blind. We're playing 6-handed with 5 good regulars, including 2 people I was playing 10-20 with earlier, and another 1 or 2 pros that occasionally play 10-20 as well. Not a great game. I'm hoping the seats will eventually fill up with less talented players, or the good players will cash out. Anyway, the cutoff opens at 30. Once again, we're up against the same opponent. I call for 20 more. We're heads up. The flop comes queen 8-4 rainbow. We have a gut shot straight draw. I check. The cutoff bet's 40. Calling and playing out of position isn't ideal. I took a very passive line in the previous hand I played against him. I'm taking an aggressive approach in this one. I raised to 150. Folding is better in the long run. I'd like my check raise much better if I was suited and had a backdoor flush draw to fall back on that would allow me to barrel turns if my suit comes. As far as strong hands go that I'd make this play with, I could potentially have all the suited 2-pair and set combos except for pocket queens. The opponent calls. This is getting interesting. The turn is a 6, giving us a double gutter. We pick up 4 more outs to the nuts. I'm definitely continuing. I want to give myself the best opportunity to win this pot now without actually having to make a hand. That means I'll be betting large. I make it 400. It's over a pot-sized bet to put a ton of pressure on the opponent. He goes into the tank. It's looking like we may be kissing those Bradley dollars goodbye unless we drill the river. The cutoff actually folds. We played like a monkey and coincidentally got a Donkey Kong-sized barrel through. It's fantastic that we won because I was winding up for something special on the river. I'm glad that it wasn't necessary. I'm also glad that we pick up pocket aces in the big blind. A good pro who I was in the 10-20 with earlier opens to 30 on the button. I make it 120. There's nothing like being at the very top of my range in a short-handed game when I should have tons of light 3-bets and the opponent is good enough to know that. Everything that has a tint of red in this chart is what Upswing says that I should be 3-betting with in this situation. There's all kinds of suited connectors and even worse garbage hands like 6-5 and 5-4 offsuit that I can theoretically mix in. As a consequence of that, you'll see top players 4-bet from the button with a relatively wide range. That might be what's going on here. The opponent 4-bets to 290. Every time that I think to myself that this day can't get any better, the day says, hold my beer. The opponent has 1800. I want to get all of it. I announce a 5-bet of
750.
I didn't need to make it too large. The opponent is getting almost 2.5 to 1. If he calls, he'll have 2/3 of a pot-sized bet left in his stack, and he won't be able to fold on almost any flop when I jam. I'm hoping that he's thinking ahead, and he'll rip it in himself right now to save us all some time. That's what happens. He 6-bet shoves for piles. I call. We're about to play a $3,600 pot. I take a deep breath, just hoping it'll go our way. Then we both signify to run it once for all of it. There will be pain for one of us and glory for the other. The dealer puts out 6-5 deuce with 2 hearts. It's great that there are no high cards, but we don't have the ace of hearts. It's scary for that reason. The turn is the 4 of clubs. That's not great because even if we're ahead, the opponent will have chop outs. It's all going to come down to the river. It's It's not that often that I feel more alive than this. The last card is the 7 of Hearts. The button shows that he has Ace-King offsuit. We have him beat to win another massive pot tonight. This is one of the most exciting cash game sessions of my life. We get a final count just to make sure that I have him covered. I've got him by about 150. I'm literally shaking because I'm so excited that I'm running this well. The yellow chip comes our way. I love acquiring those. We've got 3750 in front of us and are up 2250 and 510 after already winning over 2000 and 1020. The best part is that it's not over. I've got Ace-King offsuit in the big blind. The small blind raises to 35. His name is Mark. He's perhaps the best player at the table. He flush over flushed me and stacked me in a vlog that I uploaded a couple months ago. I put in a standard 3-bet to 120. There's another situation where I'll have lots of light 3-bets in my range. The small blind 4-bets to 335. He only has 1550 in his stack. He's certainly capable of 4-betting me with a variety of worse aces, especially when it's blind versus blind. I consider shoving on him. I have the last hand fresh in my mind in which the opponent got it in with Ace-King offsuit after lots of re-raising pre-flop, and that obviously didn't work out well for him. I call to keep my opponent's bluffs in and see a flop in position. It comes King-Jack-8, all spades. We flop top pair, but it's a very dangerous board. The small blind can have sets and flushes that we'll be drawing near dead against. We'll also be near dead if he has pocket aces with or without a spade in his hand. Even if he has queens with a spade, he'll be in decent shape. If he has ace-king with the ace of spades, he'll be free rolling against us. Small blind down bets at 200. It's small in relation to the size of the pot. Could be doing this with the nuts to keep me in, potentially something weak as a probe bet. Doing anything other than calling doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I call, not loving the situation all that much. I'm almost hoping for a spade to come out to make my life a lot easier. The turn is the 6 of diamonds. It's a complete blank. Surprisingly, the small blind checks. I have a huge decision. My opponent essentially has a pot-sized bet left in his stack. If I believe I have him beat, I need to bet for equity denial in case he's holding a spade. Even if he's not holding a spade, I don't want to check, have a spade come out, then allow him an opportunity to bluff me. There's some small chance that he has the ace-high flush already and checked a trap. I have no idea how likely that is though. If he flopped a set, he might have bet larger on the flop and likely would have continued betting on the turn. With all things considered, he probably would have bet again if he had me beat. There's a strong possibility I could also be up against ace-king, and if I bet, it'll put him in a very difficult position. I can potentially get him off a chop. I close my eyes, then announce, I should find out immediately whether or not I'm beat. There's no snap call. Very, very good sign. He doesn't fold immediately either, so he must have a hand with some value. It's got to be a one-pair hand, likely with no spade like aces or ace-king. I'm feeling somewhat relieved. After 20 seconds go by, the player folds. I'm pumped up because I didn't want to see a river. That 1K chip comes back to us. The orange and black chips followed their more valuable leader. We're up all the dollars today. Mark and I have been friendly with each other, talking about previous hands we've played together. He asked me if we're going to compare notes on this one. I tell him I had ace-king, and he agrees to tell you guys what he had.
Mark flush over flushed me before, but I got him this time. What'd you have, Mark?
I had ace-king.
No spade?
No spade. You got me off the top.
All right. Thanks, dude.
Super cool of Mark to agree to go on camera and admit that he folded a chop. I know firsthand how difficult talking about that kind of thing can be. Now we're up just under 5K on the entire session. I want to push myself to win at least over 5,200, which is the biggest win that I've ever had. I pick up pocket eights under the gun and raised at 30. Under the gun plus 1 calls, the small blind who I stacked earlier with aces, 3 bets to 160. I call, expecting to flop quads. The way that I've been running, it seems very likely that's going to happen. Under the gun plus 1 folds, it's heads up. The flop is ace-7-6, all spades. We've got a pair, a flush draw, and a backdoor straight draw. The small blind down bets to 100. He can have top set and some ace-king and ace-queen hands, but he shouldn't be 3-betting my under the gun range with almost any other suited combos because the ace of spades is accounted for. Aside from him having top set, he's mostly only going to have 1 pair hands. He shouldn't ever have the nuts and will either never or very rarely have a flush. I, on the other hand, have more flush combos. I have a set of 7s in my range that won't be in his, and I can still have some ace-kings. Altogether, this board is just as good or perhaps slightly better for me than it is for the small blind. I call to see what develops. The turn is the 10 of diamonds, giving me a gutter to go along with everything else. The set of 10s is one more big hand in my range that won't be in his. The small blind checks. My sense is that he has something like queens with no spade. My actual hand is about the worst one that I'll have on this board after calling a 3-bet and calling a flop bet. It still has some potential though. I fire for 220. It's a small sizing to make it look like I'm going for value. I want to keep my opponent in. If he has kings or queens, especially without a spade, he's going to have to fold. Even if he has ace king or ace queen without a spade, he's not gonna love it because in his mind, he could already be drawing dead or I could be free rolling against him. If he calls with those types of hands, I'll have plenty of outs. The opponent reluctantly lets it go. Looks like we get another bluff through. We're up well over 5K in 5-10 and 10-20 combined. If I leave right now, it'll be my biggest win ever by a small margin, but we're staying to extend it. We're dealt queen 9 suited in the small blind. The cutoff, who we battled with earlier in the 10-9 offsuit hand and a few other ones, raises to 30. I should be 3-betting or folding. Instead, I call. We're heads up. The flop comes queen 7 deuce rainbow. We've got top pair, not much of a kicker. I check. The cutoff down bets to 20. That's reasonable. I call. I'll likely check call the whole way. The turn is the 9 of spades. We've got top 2 pair. I likely won't be check calling anymore. I check, rooting for the opponent to bet. He fires for 50. This is getting good. I raised to 200. I did this with 10-9 offsuit in a similar situation against this guy. Here, I get to do it for value. The player calls. He may have an overpair, ace queen, a flush draw, or a straight draw. The river is the 6 of spades. Not great. The backdoor flush draw gets there. So does 10-8. I check for pot control. Bet folding is probably the best route. The cutoff says, what the hell is pot control? Then bets 550. My hand is slightly under-repped. If I call and win, I'll be up about 6K on the session. If I call and lose, I'll be up closer to 4,500. This guy already got caught bluffing me for a pot-sized bet on the river before. I gather some chips and call. No bluff this time. The cutoff has a set of deuces, which is kind of sick because my hand is the next best one, and he got all the value from me. I wonder if he makes a similar bet if he had 9-7 for a worse 2 pair, or if he had pocket aces. I lose a big pot. That's what I get for calling with queen 9 suited out of the small blind. I play for quite a while longer, but don't get into any interesting hands before racking up and booking a huge win of 4,400 altogether on the day. That was one of the most fun sessions that I've ever played. Hopped into the 10-20 and ran amazing. So that was awesome. I mean, that could have easily gone the other way and I just get stacked or lose like, 4K or 6K or something, which happened to me another time that I played 10-20 in LA. Yeah, ran great. And then I won, I think, even more money in the 5-10, which was nuts. So I was up over 5K at one point if I'd cashed out before that queen 9 suited hand in the small blind. Then it would have been my biggest win ever. Unfortunately, I decided to play it and I got punished. So that's unfortunate, but ran great, and it's gonna be probably one of my favorite episodes to make. We played through the night. It's morning time in Las Vegas. I get breakfast with my buddy who doesn't play poker, but he's originally from the Bay Area, just like me. It always makes me happy to see people from around where I'm from. Gabe.
What's up, brother?
What's up, dude?
Go Dubs.
Yep. I like the outfit, man.
Thank you.
Very, very nice.
That's how we do it.
Go.
The breakfast is delicious. I'm extremely excited after the win. I have to contain it. I tell Gabe that I lost big in order to get him to pay for breakfast. If you thought the poker was over, you're wrong, my friends. I take a nap, then in the afternoon, I fire in this charity tournament that I helped organize with Andrew Nemi in order to raise money for Junior Achievement of Southern Nevada. Andrew's streaming the whole thing on a 5-minute delay. He's also on my direct right. We both make it to the final table. I have a big chip lead. There were 19 players who entered with 24 rebuys and 13 add-ons. The top 3 players get paid. It's tough to navigate through the field, but your boys persevere all the way to the end. Me and Andrew, heads up for the title. Just knocked out someone else. This is a pretty good flop for us. All right, we've got a commanding lead here. 3-10 to Andrew's. We get a 10-1 lead, essentially. Andrew doesn't have many options other than to jam. It's not long before we get it all in. All right, no spade, no spade, no spade. Woo! We did it. We won it, we took it down. Charity tournament, big day today. Pretty awesome. All right, I played the The session earlier, I had a 5K day today. I just realized that. I didn't think I was going to do it, but I just won.
Brad Owen. You guys have always been asking for it. Here it is. It might last.
There's Andrew on the stream. He's on a delay. But
we did it.
yeah, Andrew and I went heads up, man. So it's pretty awesome. And I had a 5K day. I woke up at 1:45, 15 minutes before this this tournament started, and that's why my hair's all messed up and stuff. But so awesome, and we raised some money for junior achievement in Southern Nevada, which is really, really cool. I got $775 for the victory. Andrew, I think, got $465 or something around there. So what an awesome, awesome day, and so cool that it ended with Andrew and I heads up with Andrew streaming the whole thing. It was great to win. Andrew raised a lot of money with a live stream chat. Both him and I donated all of our prize money to the Junior Achievement of Southern Nevada as well. Huge cash game win early on, then a tournament victory with my friend and I heads up. The day couldn't have gone any better. That's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons because it helps out the channel quite a bit. And hit that notification bell. That way you're notified every time I put out a new video. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know in the comment section and I'm happy to get back to you. This was one of my favorite days of poker ever. Obviously did well in the cash game and then got the tournament victory, so that was really, really cool. There's kind of a misconception about moving up in stakes, so I wanted to talk about that a little bit. Sometimes if you're a 2-5 player, for instance, people believe that, you know, at some point you just decide you're a 5-10 player and then you never move down in stakes, and that's not really a very good mindset to have. Typically, you want to play the stakes where you're going to make the most money. Occasionally, you're going to want to challenge yourself and just get the experience of playing higher stakes, and that's fine too, I suppose. But you should definitely be paying attention to the higher stakes game and see who the regulars are. If they're not there, if you see some new faces, chances are the game is a little bit better. Or if there's 2 games usually and then a 3rd game starts, that 3rd game is probably going to be pretty good. In my case, there were 2 10-20 games. Usually there's only 1, so that second 10-20 game was great. And then I didn't go to the main game because those guys were all superstars and I didn't need to test my luck against them. But luckily everything worked out for me. Also, it's okay to play shorter sessions and hit and run if you need to. Build up that confidence and have a positive experience. That way you feel a little bit more comfortable maybe the next time you play at that level. Hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you're staying safe. Good luck at the tables. Thanks for watching this episode, and I'll see you next time. So far we have 2,400 raised in the chat that Andrew's doing right now. He's just wrapping up.
An anonymous donation of $775.
Oh, that's me.
What is happening?
Yeah, I accidentally donated anonymously.
I don't even get to give you the, I don't even get to mention your actual name or anything.
Yeah, actual name is Brad Owen.
I feel like I shouldn't hang up the stream now. Shouldn't close it out.
Yeah.
Let's see, 775. I mean, I don't know if that was Brad or if somebody matched Brad's first place prize. That's pretty sick though. 775. We're suddenly up to 2.4K. Oh, okay, that was Brad. Okay, that was Bradley. He donated all his winnings. So first place and second place, 100% of those winnings are going to go to the Junior Achievement of Southern Nevada. That's really cool, Brad. Nice work. Congrats on the tourney win. And thanks to everybody who tuned in, clicked all the buttons, clicked donation, and that's about it.